Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday, August the 11th, 2017. It's another day. It's another day for Technical Teltcast, where I haven't eaten yet, and so I'm going to be speaking in foreign languages for the next few hours. But that's okay, because I'm sure I'm not the only one in this room to be malnourished. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
I'm wondering what the hell you just said and didn't really understand any words you were saying. But I'm doing well. Doing well.
That was that was definitely the intent. Definitely the intent. Mr. Black, I can't help but notice that we went from a sport jacket every week to now we're at Under Armour every week plus a new hat.
Yeah.
Are you just trying to slap logos everywhere now?
It's too hot in this basement, man.
The next NASCAR, you're gonna start just having like logos strapped all over. You're gonna have like secret company logos like on your back wall, hidden next to the light switch and shit. You're just gonna be like subliminal.
There's no agenda here. I just threw on a hat and I always wear Under Armour everywhere, so it's just what I was wearing today.
There you go. Panic knows what's up. Yeah. Get the warm council mug up. Probably the worst. Well, how much did I even charge for that fucking mug? Like $9 or like $8 or something?
I honestly don't even remember ordering it. Just a mug showed up and I opened it and I'm like, I don't remember ordering this. Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a pretty, actually, honestly, heavy week in gaming news that's cropped up. The last few... Excuse me. The last
You're
few
saying heavy week?
Well, in terms...
I was hurting her for finding things.
Really? Well, I mean, there's not like a long list, but the stuff that was announced is relatively, newsworthy, whereas weeks prior, it's been pretty thin. We might have had a lot to talk about, but it's been, like, thin as far as what it's about.
Agree to disagree.
Maybe there's only really one thing on this list, I guess, that's, like, particularly huge as far as the internet being... Well, no, I shouldn't say that. There are two things on this list the internet's salty about. We'll get to both of them. But first of all, Mr. MaximusBlack, I need you to hit me up with a noise. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hit me up with the noise of being angry about free updates.
What the fuck? I didn't ask for this free update. Fuck.
Yeah. That, ladies and gentlemen, has been a lot of people on the internet about No Man's Sky. Holy fuck. This poor game... They've already been nuked from orbit like 7,000 times by the entire internet community, and then they went away. Like, they actually, I want to say they bought a bunker, and they just went into the bunker, and they disappeared. And
speaking of bunkers, did you hear?
Where's this going?
That the bunker and those safe, things.
The preppers.
Yeah, like the guys, because of Trump and all this nuclear talk, that
How much money's being made?
The whole bunker thing has boomed like a bajillion %. Like, people that are in that sector are so rich right now, they don't even know.
Jeff.
They're finding it hard to find places.
Jeff,
to
I got a
these
question.
Damn things.
I got a question.
Yeah.
When are they installing your bunker, and does it have space for your C-63S?
No. I don't want no bunker.
Really?
It's not happening.
You don't want a bunker? I mean, I could go for a bunker, personally.
I mean,
honestly,
cool,
you guys are pretty safe up there. I mean, you guys are in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing of value going on up in Canada. You guys are pretty safe.
Yep.
There's nothing of value until we're in an actual war, and then Halifax is like the largest natural harbor to plant all of your warships, and then we're fucked. But other than that, we're fine.
I give Canada a lot of crap. You guys don't really deserve it because you guys are actually surprisingly competent at warfare. I'll give you guys that. But
there's only like 4 of us, but we're really good with guns.
Yeah.
Just 4 of us, though. There's not that many of us. But yeah, completely off topic, but yes, it is true. There are a handful of people that are making loads of money building bunkers in the middle of like probably Midwest and Texas. I imagine like the two hot zones for for where these things exist. But yeah, No Man's Sky has been nuked several times over. There wasn't enough bunkers for No Man's Sky's team. And they went away for a while, and they've been like slowly releasing these. I'm not gonna call them minor updates. They were a little bit more than a minor update. Just keeping things going. There wasn't even really a social media presence. And then, like we talked about, couple of podcasts ago, they had that ARG or whatever. Basically, just the fancy marketing thing.
Apparently, they actually had real live escape rooms as part of the ARG that came into it. I was like, okay, they're getting into it a bit more. It was interesting. I was surprised.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They went all the way with it. And today this update launches, and I downloaded it. I haven't played it yet. I actually plan on playing it between now and next podcast so that I can talk about it.
I'm probably going to play a couple hours tomorrow, see how it goes.
Yeah, so I can talk about it, because it's a pretty massive update. I mean, it's like more than I would have actually thought was going to be in this update. So they added roughly, now I don't know what this means, because anyone can come out and say that a game has X number of hours of any type of content, and without specifics, you have no idea if that means that it's like, you know, valuable content or just shit tossed in there that you technically take that long to do, but it doesn't really amount to anything. But apparently they're calling for 30 hours of branching storyline based on stuff that you can do. Remember the big portals that existed on some planets? Like, they were like these monolithic structures, and everybody was trying desperately to figure out if they actually worked, and if they did, what the fuck they were for. So those are actually active now and serve a purpose. There's terrain editing with the multi-tool, meaning you can actually like put Earth back where, you know, you were taking it away before, which allows you to go with the base building that they released a while ago to allow you to do like more complicated, you know, structures and stuff like that. More exploration points like crashed freighters are a thing now. A new weapon class has been added. More active ship control. Yes.
So the more active ship control, I was reading up on it. The original game, when you got it, you would just fly, and your ship would do like avoidance of things. Like, you would never crash. Your ship would
oh my
just keep
god,
flying.
did people hate that?
Now, and you couldn't you couldn't really point down, and you had to get mods and stuff to do it. Now what they've done is pretty much your ship will fly and you can crash into shit. They added that because they wanted to make the combat more complicated when you're up in space, so you get a lot more maneuverability. It's actually closer to some space combat stuff. I'm actually going to be curious to try that out tomorrow in more detail. But they effectively said they wanted to increase like the skill cap for when you're fighting, because they want to add more combat and stuff in space. And this was, again, a lot of the stuff they added and they said they were adding is been preparation. Like Foundation was to add stuff, and then the more recent update where they added rovers was also to do it. This one, they said, is kind of taking some of the initial stuff and saying, this is how we're running with it, but they also added a lot of other things that are like, this is like next step towards more stuff we want to build. So I'm kind of curious on how their whole process is going. It's pretty interesting to me. But at the same time, I was looking at this, I'm like, this is a lot of stuff that should have been included when the game launched. But, you know, I guess good on them for, you know, actually sticking with the game, not charging any money for all of these updates. And, you know, they're chugging along. You know, this is what, almost the 1 year anniversary of the game?
This is almost exactly the 1 year anniversay, yeah. So they've even added inventory updates. That I'll be interested in, because there was a lot of complaints about the inventory. You can see, okay, now this one's probably going to piss people off, despite the fact that it's in there. They'll find a reason to be salty about it anyway. You can see other players now. They're orbs, though. You can't really interact with the player. You don't see the physical thing there, person being there. But if you're occupying the same planet, which, honestly, the odds are still astronomically fucking small that ever happens in the first place. But should you actually pull that off and find somebody somewhere in that universe, you will see them represented as an orb, which is fine enough for me. I don't really give a fuck about full multiplayer in No Man's Sky.
Too.
Yeah, so, which really, again, what are the odds that 16 people are in the same place at the same time within the No Man's Sky universe? It's pretty crazy. They've also increased they've done graphical improvements. I'll want to see if that blows up everything, because before it wasn't really the most smoothly operating game, but the new videos that they've been showing have been looking really good. Economy and trading route updates, and so basically almost everything has been touched, updated, reworked, whatever. And like Panic said, this is honestly, I would also hazard a guess, what they were envisioning the original launch of No Man's Sky to look like. And now we finally got there. And like Panic also said, I think the most important part is they haven't charged for any of this, because that's a pretty important bit. And on top of that, it's on sale 60% off.
Jeff, you look like you want to say something.
Yes, you can go now. I'm done. I know I've been watching you wait for it, so go for it. Go.
All right. I'm gonna be devil's advocate here. I mean, I don't like
shock.
I mean, listen. This is the way I look at it. No Man's Sky comes out, they fuck everyone. They lie about their game. They get slandered. They move headquarters. They fall off the face of the planet. They give refunds to the vast majority of people that paid for the game. It's a fucking shitstorm, and they know it. They won't even publicly come out and say, guys, we fucked up. I'm sorry. But you know what they did? And this isn't free update. All right? You know what this is? This is a ploy for them to relaunch a game that's already made so that they can sell their game again. Because the vast majority of their sales were gone. The active players in the game were gone. And the only way that they can make money now is to actually release a game that they promised that was coming out before, that they knew damn well was never going to come out, and if it did, it was going to be in the form of updates over time, and they didn't get to there because it was such a shitstorm, they just need to disappear. And now that they've actually made what is seemingly on paper a competent game, and something that resembles what they originally wanted, they're now selling the game. And lo and behold, it's 66% off Steam. Well, I wonder why. Because ain't nobody going to pay full price for this game. It doesn't matter what they have to offer. Even if you could see those 16 people in full and not just a little shit orb. Even if you could do all these different things, they wouldn't pay for the game because they tarnish the experience. But if it's 66% off and they can just get enough streamers playing the game and they can create enough buzz, maybe now they can actually get some sales again and turn a damn profit. Well, I'm not falling for it. I'm not downloading the game. I already own it, but I'm not playing the shit. And if I didn't own the game, I should have got my money back before, but I didn't because I was lazy. I wouldn't be buying it right now. Because all it is them double dipping. They're not doing you guys a favor. This isn't free content. This is content that should have been done when the game came out. This is not them doing this because they did wrong and they want to give back. They're doing this to resell their game again. Because everybody gets their money back.
They could. Not everyone got refunded. Like for me, it's free content. Honestly, I was not going to pick up the game again. I paid my money for it. I got 100 hours of gameplay out of it. I was all right with it.
There's nothing free about it. You paid for this content originally when you thought you were actually getting the game, and it came a third complete. And now, by the sounds of it, it's half complete, which is great. It's not free content, dude. You paid for this. It's in the form of free, and that's why people are mad. It's going, you fuckers, you should let this shit die, bro. Let this shit die. There's games coming out now that are already doing what you do. They've already picked up on the magic that you had. Hold
on now. Okay, hold on, because the last sentence you just said was absolutely fucking crazy. All right, so let's look at this at the two options that are available. They don't do anything, period. And what do people say? The forever history of No Man's Sky and Hello Games would be they released the game, $60. It wasn't what it was supposed to be. Everything got nuked from fucking orbit. It was a complete dumpster fire gong show, and they never touched it again. And then they ran away with what money they could, and they never touched it again. That's scenario A, which is what you just described right now. If
it's
they
never
going to
change, though. That's the thing. It's tarnished
Scenario
so bad,
B,
it doesn't matter what they do.
They're
it
still
doesn't
trying,
so then why does it matter if they do release it for free? I don't understand how there could be a negative in them continuing to provide content for those who did buy the game and who did get swindled.
I don't think that's the goal here. That's my personal.
I don't think I got swindled.
Well, of course.
Are you fucking mad?
Yeah,
I don't think you got swindled.
No,
we're done. You're not even allowed to talk for the rest of this. You're literally you don't even have an argument. I don't feel like I've got swindled, dude. What the fuck?
What if?
I was very clear.
Imagine
I was very clear on exactly what my stance was on the game. Yeah, the game was oversold, but you know, at the same time, they said we're giving you a procedurally generated game that you can go and travel and explore and stuff. Yeah, a lot of shit was fucked up, but I've seen games that are worse ship out. Yeah, they fucking oversold, but I damn well don't think I got swindled. If I felt I got swindled, I would have applied for a refund. I've gotten refunds from Steam for a ton of things. This game, yeah, it got oversold, but at the same time, I knew what it was when I looked at it. So yeah, maybe I didn't get the game everyone was hyping for, but I was very clear when I played the game. I played the game for 100 hours. I knew exactly what I got. I played it for what I thought it was going to be. And I wrote that in my review. I wrote a published review on the web about this game. And I was very clear. I don't think I got swindled. I think Hello Games definitely made some questionable marketing decisions. Yeah, they fucked up. But at the same time, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't read into hype as much as everyone else did. Great. I learned my lesson too. But I don't feel personally I got swindled. There's a big difference there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just because there are a group of people who feel like they got fucked in the ass or who did based on their expectations of the game when they purchased it or what they knew of the game when they purchased it, doesn't mean there isn't also a group of people that bought the game knowing what they were getting themselves into, because unless you bought this...
I gotta ask you something.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
So if you were to go to the dealership, all right, and you were going to buy a brand new car, and on this car, on the little sheet on the window, it says, okay, this car here has 300 horsepower, all right? It has 326 feet-pound torque, or foot-pound torque. It has a 23 mileage, you know, gallons per
23
gas
miles
mileage.
a gallon, okay.
Thank you, 23 miles a gallon. It's an all-wheel drive vehicle. It's great in snow. It's all this stuff.
So it's a Subaru. It's
a Subaru. All right. It comes with a hefty price tag, but you know what? It's a Subaru. This car looks great, and on paper, we love
that box engine. It's so lovely.
So if you go to the dealership, you buy this car and you take it home, and you drive it around, and you're like, man, it just doesn't feel right. There's something. This experience is not what was advertised to me. So you take it to a dyno and you hook it up, and it actually goes 220 miles, or it actually has 220 horsepower, and it's got 256 feet-pound torque. Okay. So, do you feel swindled? Do you feel just because you still enjoyed the vehicle and you knew you were getting a Subaru? You know, it's got the body of a Subaru. You've got the logo on there. It's great. It's wonderful. It is. Okay. It's a serviceable vehicle. It's fun. It's still got some pep to it. Sure. But on paper, and what you were told and what you were sold by the salesman, you're going to take their word for it because, you know, it's Subaru Canada. You're not going to assume they're fucking you. I don't know. Maybe you are assuming they're going to fuck you. But
I mean, I think most people assume that car dealers are fucking them. But
false. Yeah, it's basically false advertisement. And although you drove the car around and you got almost the gas mileage that it said it would, and the conditions weren't proper, you know, you're maybe a little heavy on the pedal, did a little bit too much, you know, in the city driving. Maybe it was just a little. Maybe that was your fault. But either way, and most certainly the power of the vehicle and what they've advertised wasn't the same. Don't you feel swindled? Wouldn't you feel like, what the fuck? This isn't what I paid for?
Well, first, I get what your analogy is, but it's a kind of a hard comparison because of the vast canyon in price difference between these two things that we're discussing right now.
Principle is
I
principle.
understand. Okay, on principle, if I'm allowed to have returned it within the time frame and I have the choice to do so, if they've lied to me in the guise of false advertising, and I'm not going to sue them for false advertising, which would be the case most of the time in that instance, some way or another. If they've sold me the vehicle and I have no recourse, meaning I can't return the vehicle after I've discovered that it's 100 brake horsepower and foot-pound torque less than they've advertised, then I've been swindled. I've been fucked with a cactus. Yes, you're absolutely right.
I understand that. All right, that's just like with Mercedes and my thing that was going on with me. And although they did offer me a full refund, I still felt swindled about the whole situation that went down. Now, I'm not saying panic. I'm not saying that you didn't get your money's worth. You know, put 100 hours into something, you paid $60. I think that's a pretty damn good trade-off. I mean, especially if you enjoyed it. But when you use the word swindled, you got swindled. You were told that the game were to be performed and that they would have these certain things in it, and they flat out lied, not only to you but to a lot of people. Now, you didn't ask for the refund back, so that doesn't make it okay. Like where you go, well, I didn't get swindled because I didn't take the refund back.
There's a difference between getting
there's
swindled.
A choice.
Like again, you can feel you got swindled depending on what your expectations of the promise were versus what was delivered. So in my case, again, I saw the hype. I saw what they were showing. I saw that there was a disconnect. And in my review, I flat out state, Sean Murray did lie. There's video evidence of him lying. At the same time, though, he lied, but everyone
got
does.
Your money. And everyone does. So it's okay.
I probably would have.
But
I would have bought the game anyway. I would have bought the game anyway.
There's been worse, so it's okay. There's been worse. Companies have said worse before, so it's okay. It's not okay, and that's why people are pissed off. That's why people are mad.
What's not okay is that you are highly desperate to get us to just say yes to what's coming out of your mouth right now. You want to hear
I'm not going to do that.
I think
my argument talks for itself. I think there was false advertisement. You paid for it, and since you didn't choose to have a refund, then you don't feel like you've been worked.
There are degrees of false advertising in almost everything we look at and are
so that's
exposed
okay
to every day.
Okay, all right.
There's false advertising everywhere, Jeff.
Yep. You're a drone, bro. You're a fucking peon, bro. Work. That's what you are. Work. Yep, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Everybody does it. Work. That's why people are mad, and it's the principle behind it. And they got gut. And now they're re-releasing this game. Now
even with that being said,
and it's to sell copies of their game, bro. It's not to appease. It's
no
not to
fucking
appease
shit.
the fuck up they made.
So Jeff,
no
Jeff,
fucking shit.
I want your opinion on this then. All right, you got a game. You sponsor a streamer to play it. The streamer plays the shit out of it, but they absolutely hate it, but don't say it. That's not false advertising or swindling either.
No, it is. It all depends. If I've definitely played games that I've gotten paid for, and flat out. But I always say it in a way that I'm not slandering the game I'm playing. I find parts of the game that I enjoy and I focus on those things. For example, when I was sponsored by Ozone, they had products that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. So instead of me promoting that specific product, I promoted the products that I used and I thought were good that I could push onto my community and say, hey, if you guys are buying something from Ozone, you should get this headset. You should do this. An agreement between, and that's also my due diligence as a person that is going out. I'm typically, if I'm going to promote something, I already kind of know what it's about. So I'm going to play the game, I'm going to use the product, and then I'm going to make the decision if I actually want to endorse said product. It isn't like, same with the Atari hat. They sent me the Atari hat, and it wasn't, I signed a contract, and that was it. It was, we're going to send you this hat. We want you to use it. If you like it, Let's work out something. So that's typically how it works. If I go into a retail store and they say, hey, Jeff, this is what this vehicle does, or this is what this product does, or this is what this iPhone can do, and then I get it home and it's not what they advertised, those are two different things. In my opinion, those are two completely different things.
I would disagree, but again, that's kind of my point. Like, again, it's perception of advertising. No Man's Sky advertised things. Yeah, again, I'm not disagreeing that there were definitely some lies there, but at the core premise of what they were promising, a lot of that stuff was there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I give them credit. It wasn't like a complete farce. Like, core elements of the game were there. They played well, and I was okay with that part. So again, you're saying you got swindled? No, I don't think so. They definitely puffed and overhyped and did a lot of shit. Not giving them a pass on that. But there's that fine line between, yeah, you got had or you didn't. A lot of people said, yeah, I was on the side of, yeah, you definitely, like, a lot of people were like, yeah, Hello Games, definitely liars and swindlers. Other people were like, the game sucked, but I didn't
So you're saying swindling is a perception of the person that got swindled.
Yeah.
So, if somebody robs you of $5, it's like, whatever, it's $5. But I'm sure if somebody robbed you of $50,000, you'd be like, well, it's a little different.
Like
I got fucking swindled. It's
and again, there's a difference between getting robbed and someone like saying, give me $5 and I'll give you something. Like,
yeah, okay, well, yeah, here's $5. Give me this fidget spinner. Well, you buy the fidget spinner, but it doesn't actually spin. Did you get swindled? It was $5. It looked like it was from China. It looked cheap anyway. I knew what I was getting myself into. It was worth the $5 risk. I didn't get swindled. But if you paid for one for $50,000 and it didn't spin, well, that's a little bit of a different story. You got fucking swindled.
That's an extreme case, but yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, well, then I think I just proved my point. Swindling is swindling. It's just your perception of it. It just because monetarily it wasn't a big thing that it didn't mean a lot to you.
Adam,
you look like you want to say something. You're like rocking back and forth there.
We started this on a totally different line of discussion.
Hey, you know what? Fine.
And
it
Jeff
is what it is.
managed to derail that shit so far.
Hey, well, welcome to a podcast. That's why I'm on here. You want my opinion or you don't want my opinion? I'm telling you my opinion. And I think I made a pretty damn good point. So
it's lovely.
It is what it is.
So here's the thing. I think the entire world understands and has been along for the wonderful ride that has been the No Man's Sky life cycle on the internet. It's been more cataloged than virtually any other fucking game in the last, I don't know, possibly my entire life. My whole life as a gamer. No game has ever been so fucking picked apart and fine-tooth combed as No Man's Sky. Everything that has just been discussed is exactly what everyone already knows. My point was, before we went too far this way, was if in the two scenarios that can exist, they don't do anything at all. They don't release any updates. They have made the game, they have swindled people, they've fisted them, they've beat them with fucking just sacks full of batteries, whatever the fuck it is that they were doing, just jumper cables and shit, whatever it is No Man's Sky did to all these people. And there were massive refunds, and it's probably the most downvoted game into oblivion on Steam until GTA 5 fucked up not that long ago, and it has been just destroyed. There is nothing that's a husk. It's a shell of a man. Sean Murray probably went to therapy for the rest of his life after this shit. Okay? We've already gotten down. We've hit bottom, rock bottom. Two options here. We do dick. We do nothing and leave it as it is as a company and walk the fuck away. And the legacy of it for everyone, except for those who have already made peace with it and aren't there trying to literally crucify someone in the year 2017, that is where it ends. Option 2, we slowly push out updates, whether they're free or not. Again, two options are to be done here. You have a group of people who are producing work on a game that did make a shitload of money before it was all refunded and fucking went away. So now the money pool that was made off of No Man's Sky is from this big to this fucking big in a really short period of time. Two options are we take that tiny little bit of money, spread it like fucking Marmite on a cracker, and friggin' go over the next year and slowly roll out updates for $0.00. and continue to bring it up to the level in which it was advertised once Sony was brought into the picture and everyone lost their fucking minds. That's option one. They could have also, as a branching fucking story here, decided to release these updates and charge money for it to make even more money off of it. And guess what? They didn't. So despite the fact that this is literally...
You know why they didn't, though? You know why they didn't?
Well, it doesn't matter, because if they did, then this would be even fucking worse. The point is, this is, bar none, unequivocally, objectively, the best possible scenario post-nuclear apocalyptic D-Day of release of No Man's Sky that exists. Because if there was any other money involved, or no updates whatsoever, that is objectively worse.
I'm just glad they're trying.
So for the 10,000 whatever fucking people that still exist that bought the game, that played, that enjoy it, at the very least, they're getting something. And for everyone else who wakes up and still needs to get off on Sean Murray's fucking just horrible days, then that's cool. But the point is, this is the best case scenario. Is there a better scenario than this post-launch? Obviously, the best case scenario is this game never got into Sony's hands. It stayed $39.95, and when it did go to hell, it didn't matter because it was an indie game and not pushed as a AAA fucking shitfest that it became when Sony got into the picture, and then everyone's fucking happy. But we can't go back in time. We can't do that shit now. So now we have to look at what's the best possible choice now. So is there a better choice than providing no one, or then is there a better choice than providing the people that exist content, and people that might be interested content? Is there a better scenario than that, especially with free and discount the fucking main game? Sure, they're trying to make money. Jesus Christ on a stick, of course they're trying to make money. Can you imagine doing all that work on top of that, on the money that they would have had left after after launch day, and still not want to make money? Like, if you do work, of course you want to fucking make money for it, but it's not like you're going to roll in it at $26 Canadian.
I don't feel bad for it, because that should have been the product that was out anyway. So for them to use this as a ploy for people to jump back on No Man's Sky and buy it at 66% off,
how is it a ploy?
It's just ridiculous.
They're having a sale for the game, which is fine because the game is still on the market. But they're releasing updates for free. Yeah, and they're saying, yeah, we're releasing new content. And they still have to deal with all of the negative press. Because anytime someone goes onto that Steam page and looks at No Man's Sky, they're not releasing it with like some title, new expansion pack or whatever. This is just a flat update. Anytime someone goes on the Steam and they see 60% off, they still see mostly negative. They see all of that shit, and all of the reviews are there. Hello Games, like Adam said, they could have just walked away. You know what? They could have just walked away. And yeah, you're saying, yeah, this is the game they should have shipped. I completely agree. This is the game they should have shipped.
100%.
But they're pushing. They're trying. They're trying to fix the game. Yeah, they might not have come out and said, yeah, we fucked up. But guess what? They got my money. They got a ton of other people's money. You might think it's swindle or not. But you know what? I'll give them a
they got my money. I got swindled, but I still enjoyed what I played.
I didn't get swindled, but you can put words in my mouth. That's fine. But they're trying. They're pushing out updates. They're pushing out things. And they keep saying, these are pieces we're putting out. And they keep saying, there's more coming. And they keep saying, we're not charging for the more that's coming.
Of course not, because it's originally what people paid for. I mean, they can't even use that as, oh, guys, we're sorry. We're giving you these free updates. Because then it would have been like, fuck you, asshole. These should have been with the game anyway. So there's nothing free about this. There's literally nothing free about this.
It's like, we're trying to fix it. Here you go.
This is like me getting my DLC a year later. I already paid for this. That's what this is.
Then what? But still, why is that a bad thing? Why is it so bad?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
You literally have been saying it's a bad thing.
I didn't fucking say it's a bad thing. You're putting it in words in my mouth. I said I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Make the 15 people that play No Man's Sky happy. I don't care. I said their underlining motive is to make money. It has nothing to do with a sorry we fucked up. Here's the original game. It's, hey, here's the actual game. Let's discount it so we can actually make some fucking money. That's why it's out. There is nothing of them going, sorry.
How much money do you really
guys.
think? How much money do you really think they're going to make?
Anyway, I'm done.
How much?
I'm done.
How much money do you really think you're going to make?
I'm done talking about No Man's Sky.
You don't get to fucking back up just because you've dropped
what
your
do you mean?
point and
I've
walked
already
the fuck
said
away.
I've said everything I need to
So
say
I can't
about
ask
it.
you any questions anymore?
Go ahead. Fire away, guys. Come on. I'll take both of you at the same time. Let's go. Let's
how much
fucking
money do
go.
you really
got
honestly
swindled
think they're
and you
gonna
won't
make?
admit it. You got fucking swindled and you won't
just want us to
it.
admit. You just want us to admit it.
Because it's the fucking truth, and even when I win an argument, you won't give it to me. Because you're so prideful. You got fucking swindled, man. You did. You were lied to. They took your money. You won't give me one, you fucks. You got robbed. It's that simple. Deal with it.
I feel like you're the one here that needs to deal with it is the fucking problem.
I have dealt with it, and I'll never download this shit. This fucking shit, they're dead to me.
So Adam, what's up next on the list?
Do you really think they're going to make any fucking money at 26 Canadian dollars after all this work? Seriously, come on.
I don't fucking care, guys.
Come on.
I don't care.
The answer is no. They're going to make like a handful of cash, like barely enough to break even for what they've done. That might be it. If they pushed all this and it was still 60 fucking bucks and everything, maybe there's a shot in hell. They've got a small marketing window to make money. This is, and of course, even if it is, of course it's about making fucking money on their game. Of course it is. It's just so fucking asinine.
Of course, it's business. It's business as usual.
Oh my god.
It's business as usual at No Man's Sky.
All right, guys, let's move it on to the next topic. Let's move it on.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I'll be the bad guy.
Man.
I'll be the bad guy again. I'll take the fall, boys. Don't you worry.
We don't even have to label you. Just label yourself. Overwatch adds deathmatch to test servers plus a new map. That's something. So after all this time, Overwatch is adding deathmatch finally. It probably should have been added forever ago, but here we are.
They originally said they were never going to add deathmatch. This is why it surprised me when they're like, yeah, we're adding deathmatch, guys. I'm like, I literally said you were never going to add deathmatch and that the game didn't lend itself to it. Okay.
Oh, of course they were going to add deathmatch. I mean, like, if it's a shooter and it's team-based of any kind, even if it wasn't team-based, deathmatch is just... It's like a core aspect to any first-person shooter. Why it wasn't there, I don't know. But now it is here, and they're adding this new map. I think it's the new map based on, like, Widowmaker's mansion or some shit, I think. But,
it was something ridiculous.
It was something like that.
I'm just surprised that they're going with it with, like, they have so many other things going for Overwatch right now with, like, the Overwatch League stuff launching. They got the summer event going on. I'm like, why deathmatch? Like, seemed kind of okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna complain about it because it's a good thing to have, and I think it might be more entertaining than some of the other modes that the game has. In all honesty, you know what the best part of deathmatch is? You can't possibly have overtime. So you've just already eliminated the worst part about Overwatch by not having the worst part about Overwatch. Get rid of overtime, half the battle is already won. And they don't have to worry about balancing for overtime because it's just not actually a fucking part of it. So that's magnificent. I mean, so there's some weird nuances, I guess, it's to my knowledge, like Mercy rezzing actually takes away kills. So if people aren't actually all the way dead, then they can still be brought back and off the board. So if you're at like 19 kills and a Mercy comes in and rezzes 3 people, then all of a sudden you're only at 16 kills or whatever. So there's, I guess Mercy becomes even more valuable perhaps in that mode. But maybe this will also be, I don't know. Do you think this would be more entertaining at an esport level to watch a deathmatch scenario than the current modes that they have?
I highly doubt it, because I mean, you have random hero types and they're not really geared for, like, you know, running solo against the other classes. Like, you have some that are good against tanks, but, you know, and again, like, based on what we're looking at, it's they have 2 different ways. You can do team deathmatch or just, you know, regular everyone man for himself death matches. First for 20 kills for free for all, and then 30 kills as a team. So I mean, I don't think that's like a esports conducive thing to just go and kill people in Overwatch. I don't know. Like I feel like it'll lose a lot there.
Yeah, I don't know. Does it make it more interesting to people who aren't already playing Overwatch? Maybe that's why it's being added.
Yeah.
Do you figure that's the case? Like they're trying to like hook in people that aren't really objective shooter fans, and they just want to go in and shoot people and kill them?
Yeah, I mean, effectively, all the supports lose their merit because they're not really, other than like Zenyatta, they're not really good at fighting. And then you'll have mainly, I think it'll just be like a Reaper, Hanzo, Widowmaker fest. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, well, people will figure out crazy ways. I mean, I don't think I agree with that. I think the supports will still totally be a thing. I think they'll just be used dramatically different than they are currently. It's not going to, because you're not pushing a point anymore. Now it's going to be about keeping it. It's like it'd be like you know,
Mercy
in
will probably
MOBAs
damage
where,
boost more.
Yeah, where like in MOBAs where you have a support that's you know, protecting your carry so that the carry can do as much damage as possible. The same kind of idea will probably apply there, whereby they'll have.
Curious to see where it will go. You know,
Mercy, I think, is probably going to be in every match, unless you have like
honestly,
godlike Widowmakers.
What they should do, and I think it would be interesting in this scope, get rid of overtime completely in regular competitive. If you end up having a tie in score or whatever, throw it into a 1st to 10 death match and just let her rip.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. And I think it opens up more like arcadey stuff too if they follow this track, I guess, with their game modes. And
make
so
it like a
anything
penalty
and
shootout
everything.
or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like more silly stuff that they can do with it, which I think is never a bad thing, for sure. So there's that. It doesn't make me more interested in Overwatch. I think I'm Overwatched out. I got my like couple hundred hours of Overwatch in, and then I'm pretty much good. It's just not super entertaining to me right now. I mean, I will watch how this deathmatch thing unfolds though, because it might evolve into something. This could be one of those things that like starts out not being an intentional core to the game, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, deathmatch is now super competitive and everybody wants to play deathmatch. So that's a distinct possibility for sure. Mr. Black, do you have any thoughts on deathmatch Overwatch?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, I'll try it out. It's a place where the players that just want to kill people can go and play instead of infecting actual team play, because you know there are players. I'm one of them. Like there's been many games where I don't give a shit about the point. I just want to kill people. And so it'll be nice to actually have a mode where you can actually just go and kill people and be the top of the leader, to actually have a standout play instead of some stupid play of the game shit that is
Torbjorn
like one
puts
grenade
a turret down and walks away.
Yeah, you can actually, you know, it'd be nice to actually see a play of the game in deathmatch where people are actually killing people and just fucking wrecking people without having to worry about.
Turret's not going to be in deathmatch, Adam?
I don't know. They're gonna. I mean, there's still ways that you can do things. Like you can still have supporting people in team deathmatch, keeping them alive. There's some really cool things that you could do with it, but I think this is the most interesting thing Overwatch has announced. I think it's more interesting than their league shit that they got going on. Is it going to be an esport? I don't know. I don't see it. But at the same time, this could be a really great arcade game. Like in StarCraft, the co-op shit is like super popular.
Oh yeah,
so
people are all over that right now.
You know, even though it's not covered, people are playing it. Keeps them focused and playing their game instead of another game. So it's not a bad thing. You know, and it wasn't promised before the game, so free is good.
Yeah. You would. I was waiting for that to happen.
Yeah,
I was waiting at the very beginning when I mentioned it, and I almost did it myself. I was like, you know what? This is going to be picked up somewhere else. I'll just let it go. Gearbox announces, now this is something I don't know that much about. I don't think anyone knows that much about, but it's blowing my mind in terms of just how this is going to work. What is this? It's called Project 1v1. Yeah,
I read it. I took a little. I was at work when I came up with most of the topic list today. So if people want to slap me around in the YouTube comments, that's fine. I'm sure Adam would have found a lot of.
I'll take the heat, Panic. I'm always the one getting slapped around in the YouTube comments. I'll take the heat.
Anyways, I read this article. I kind of had a what the fuck. Like, I don't understand. I went to lunch, had some Taco Bell, and came back and read the article again, and it still didn't make sense. The tacos didn't help at all. But pretty much, they're calling it Project 1v1, and it's a shooter with card game mechanics. Like, they said it's going to have the metagame strategy of, like, Hearthstone, Gwent, and the others. And I'm just like, those two things are two very opposite things that make zero sense.
Yeah.
And they're like, and then everyone's just like, Gearbox has successfully merged role-playing games with shooters. They'll probably do a good job with this. And I'm like, I don't see it.
Can I be honest? I don't think that when Gearbox rolled out Borderlands that was really a great hybrid of RPG and first-person shooter. You know what it was? It was a first-person shooter that had an open world. That was it. There wasn't really that much RPG.
Yeah, you had skill trees and stats and stuff. It was all right. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but but by that, I guess by that token, almost every game on the planet now is an RPG hybrid because every game has, points to dump into your character to increase stats or some other thing. So, I mean, that was just one of the first genre specific mechanics to get brought over. But despite that, I also think that first-person shooter RPG is a hell of a lot easier to bridge than first-person shooter card game. I don't even know
how you would do that.
The only thing I could think of is it would be like a 2-level game where you're playing a card game at the macro level, and then occasionally when things happen at the macro card level, it dumps you into a first-person shooter with the card stuff that you just used to play out that segment, and then depending on how that plays out, it changes the macro level initiation that you just started. Do you know what I mean?
Like, you're thinking like you get cards for like damage boosts, modifications for your weapons, like your weapon shoots 10% faster based on a card you play.
So let's put it in Hearthstone terms so I can try and make it as like where everybody's going to understand where I'm coming from. So you got Hearthstone, you've got a board full of dudes, right? But let's say it airs closer to having some Magic the Gathering type stuff where you have lands and whatnot that come into play. Okay, so you have the land becomes the arena, the cards become the characters you end up playing first person, and anything that you attach to that card goes with you whenever two cards collide on the macro level battlefield, but you get dumped into that land plus your card and your abilities that you had, and you go in and fight it out until that resolution is, comes to an end, and then it brings you back up to the card game level.
So you actually resolve combat through actual combat.
Yes.
As opposed to just some card dice spin thing.
Yes. But that would be a very lengthy game.
Yes. That would take a while.
So but that's all that would be like the best, that would be like my best estimation. Otherwise you end up with like Paragon, right? Because, Jeff played a bunch of Paragon. They did a card-E type system. It's not a first-person shooter, but it was similar in that they gave you cards to apply as acting as the meta, where you apply that to your character over the course of the game, and then it changes the abilities that you have or the powers that you have throughout the match. So, but that was within the confines of a MOBA, so maybe it's Paragon with guns in first person. There's only so many ways my brain can fucking mesh card games and first-person shooters together. So I have no idea. Like, is there some way that you could see that happening? I've no idea.
I don't know. I don't see it being as involved as you're putting down out there. I literally think what'll happen is you might have a couple of rounds, kind of like Counter-Strike, where you have a bunch of different rounds. The teams will have decks and they'll play their cards, and that'll determine what bonuses they get when they go into the round, and then they have to play it out that way based on some resources. I don't think they're going to go too much further than that because, like you said, otherwise the game's going to take fucking forever.
Well, then it couldn't be, if that was the case, it wouldn't be a quick match setup like Hearthstone. Yeah. It would just be, it would be a totally different, you know, the gameplay loop would not be within the confines of a 15-minute, you know, card match. It would be a like much longer. I don't even. Again, at that point, it would almost have to be a single player campaign. Like you wouldn't really. But then how do you do multiplayer, which has to exist in every single game now? So I just don't know, Mr. Black. Do you have any idea how you could combine first-person shooter? How would you combine first-person shooter and card game if you had the choice?
Well, I just wouldn't, because it sounds
pretty bad. It's weird.
I don't know. Like I maybe it's a first person shooter game, and then you just add cards to your character. It says you'll be able to earn crates and new cards by defeating opponents in the Project 1v1's ranked mode. So maybe it's a card game, but you have to fight people to earn the cards instead of maybe buying packs. I don't know.
So it's almost like two different games entirely?
Speculating.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. I don't think you're going to do both at the same time. I think it's you'll be able to earn crates and new cards by defeating opponents in the 1v1 ranked mode. So I'm thinking it's a shooter. If they win, they earn crates. And in the crates, of course, they can get new cards by defeating their... I don't know.
Maybe it'll be like that Titanfall card system they had in the first one. I don't know. Either way, I don't think we should speculate too much further on it because they're doing like a limited release tech alpha thing in like a couple of weeks. So I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about it then. Like, that's why I was surprised. I'm like, they announced it, didn't say anything about it. They're like, oh yeah, you know, some people, you know, we'll have some more out on it in like a couple of weeks. Like, okay.
Oh well, shit.
It's just a weird.
Well,
mix.
okay. Well, we're close. We're not even that far away. In the meanwhile, if anyone wants to give me a bunch of Kickstarter money to make the game that I just described, feel free to send all that money to my PayPal account. I'll get right on that. Make that magic happen.
Before we jump to the next topic, I had one listed. It didn't make it onto the list, but I still want to ask about it anyway.
Sure.
They did like a big thing about the Paragon update, and they said they added like a ton of stuff. And I think you played it yesterday or the other day, Jeff, like you did a revisit. Yep. I'm really curious about it because Paragon kind of dropped off the grid. For those of you that don't know, Paragon is pretty much like a first-person MOBA. It's kind, you know, similar style as Smite. That's what I meant. Sorry, third-person MOBA, similar to Smite, but third-person on like ground level with the heroes. But it was like made in the Unreal Engine, and the graphics look sick. They were in like early access pre-release for a while, and then they disappeared. But it looks like they did like a really big update and just came back out on it. So like I know Jeff has played it, so I'm like curious what his thoughts were on the update and like how they changed the progression. And like is the game like coming closer to launch or like how far away are we on it?
I have no idea. They're doing esports stuff now, so they just had like a tournament. But I will say the update is in terms of the whole card, they got rid of all the card stuff where you're adding cards onto cards. Now it's much more casual. So there's still cards, but there's only 100 of them. And then before, when you CS, like before, you used to get CXP, and you would use the CXP to buy cards, and then you would, anyway. Now you get gold or whatever, and you put that into cards, and it basically upgrades the cards, but there's a bunch of different abilities that it unlocks within those. So like one, if you finish a card, and it's kind of like Pokemon cards, like how, so like maybe you'd have to use like leaf. You have to use like a leaf cards or
a certain amount of energy.
Energy, yeah. So certain cards you have to have two different types of energy. So you have to have like agility, and one is say health or something. And say one of them will be like 7 agility and 2 health. And so you would, when you collect gold from killing CS or killing other opponents or finishing towers, like last hitting things, then, and which is nice too, because now you can carry a bit more. It's a lot more heavily focused on like feeding your ADC. It feels more like a MOBA, but instead of like buying items, you're buying parts of like 3 different cards, and then within those it goes on to actual cards, but those unlock abilities. It's kind of hard to explain.
Do you play those cards like before the game starts, or
no?
Like...
No, you figure out what direction you want to go within the game. So you don't make a deck. Before you used to make a deck and you would build it a certain way pretty much every time. Now you can kind of see what's on the battlefield, and what's nice about this too is you can take off the cards that you have, and you can distribute the points that you put onto those cards. Before, you used to get rid of it. Once you use a card, it was dead. Now you can take it off and put it back on. So if there's a guy in the other team that's like just penetrating armor, you can, and you were building one way, you can wipe off that and then start getting an armor. So you can kind of
there's a little bit more
strategize as you're going. Yeah, a lot more.
Okay, that makes it. Okay. So
I make it sound convoluted, but it's much more simple than what it was before. They got to work on like the UI of it.
You don't lock yourself into a corner while you're playing. Effectively.
No. You can choose however you want to go, and the games are a lot shorter now too. Everything's sped up. I think the minions are moving faster. The jungles are easier to kill.
The games were like 30-40 minutes before. Like, what are they down to now? Like 20-30 minutes now? 25
to 35 minutes is your typical.
So knocked out about
PvP
10 minutes.
Match. Oh yeah, easily.
Right.
I mean, before I used to games like 50 minutes to an hour, like every game. It's just so slow.
And this is with the new map that they introduced forever ago now, right?
Yeah. I still like the old map more, but it is what it is. The game is fun. It's still growing. I don't know, man. I'm kind of over Paragon, to be honest with you. Like, they just waited so long. They had no idea.
Their window.
Yeah, they did. I think they did. But you know what? They had an esport event. Apparently, it was okay, and they're doing things now. So they are saying that this is the final version of the game that they're releasing. In terms of like any major changes, that was the big turnoff I had. It was every 6 months the whole fucking game changed. Like, we're not talking a little bit. Like, the entire core of the game changed. It was like completely different. So I just lost. I was like, it's going to change again in another 6 months, and it did. I will say, though, finally, this is the best version in terms of card and how things work and the speed of the games. But now that they have 100 new cards and new things, it's broken as fuck. It's so broken.
Rebalance again.
Oh, they got to rebalance the whole game. It's so broken, and there's still not enough heroes so that both sides have the same heroes. And you see the same heroes. Yeah, you see the same heroes all the time because people want to play the broken heroes. So every game you've got 2 or 3 of the overpowered heroes, and they've got like 15 kills, and it's just it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. But I feel like when they tidy it up, they're gonna have something nice in their hands. I don't know if the window's gone, but it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm happy. I'm happy at least that what you just said there at the end, whereby this is technically the best version of the game you've played. At least they've settled
always a good sign.
On the one that is the best version, and not settled on something that was like some terrible version of the game. And I agree with what you said before. The card thing is what threw me off, and I just walked away from the game entirely. It was even when I was playing the game for a while, I still really didn't actually know what the fuck I was doing. I was like, I had a rough idea, but, and I'd do something, but I would have no idea how I managed to even get to the end point by the end of the game. Like, I didn't even know what I did. Like, I got there, and I sort of got to where I wanted to be, but I had no fucking clue how that exactly happened. So if they got rid of that, or retooled it...
Yeah, they retooled
definitely...
it. It's still overwhelming if you're a new player and you're coming in. You got things, but the way they have it set up now, it's real nice. And none of that deck building shit. You got to figure out what kind of path you want to go within the game, kind of like you would buy items in League of Legends. but it's still in card form, but it's really nice. Like, and there's only so many cards you can use. I think it was like 4 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're not having like a 40 deck like before. You had to pick 40 fucking cards.
Yeah,
and then you had
nuts.
to put
before
things,
you can jump in.
Yeah, it was just confusing. But now you can just jump in. You don't do any deck prepping. You just go into a game, and then you can still earn things. Like you get cards through crates and shit like that. But it's much simpler.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. All right, well, there you go. Yeah, I forgot to add that in. I apologize, Panic. Is the one that
No. I just like we were talking about like the first person in the card game stuff, and I was like,
yeah.
They did like a huge thing on Paragon, and then you had mentioned it, so I was like, that actually might be like an interesting segue for that. So I'm like, well, we have some time, so we might as well.
Well, guess what? We're not done with the card games yet, boys, because there's more. Valve decided that that there weren't enough card games on the market, and they need to make a card game, and so by God, they're gonna do it. And bless them, Sean Plott, Day 9, standing up on that international stage, gave the most vague description of what this game was, and the internet went, "What the fuck?"
Fucking Valve.
Okay, so I'm gonna give my quick positive negatives to this, and I'll let you guys, I guess, talk about how you feel about this. All right, positive side. Or no, I'll start downside. Downside, do we really need another card game right now? Probably not.
Can we list off the ones that we have that have been announced in the past like 3 years? It's like what?
Well, okay, Hearthstone. So Hearthstone, the Elder Scrolls, Legends, the Fable one that just barely survived. One? Yeah, that just barely survived. Fable Fortune, I think it was called, wasn't it? Fable, yeah. Oh geez. There's one that I played not that long ago.
From The Witcher.
Gwent. Where there was one that started with like a D or something like that. Wasn't Duelist a card game or whatever?
Yeah.
Duelist. I mean, there's. No, it's still Duelist is actually Duelist is actually pretty good. But yeah, there are just hordes of card games. And so here we are, Valve releasing a Dota 2 themed, or Dota, I shouldn't say Dota 2 specifically, just Dota themed card game. We don't know in what space it's going to occupy. Obviously, the knee-jerk reaction will be to immediately compare it to Hearthstone when it releases. So negative, maybe we don't need a card game right now. Positive, Valve has the Steam Marketplace. Which is like the most trusted place to trade aftermarket shit in games on the internet. If they utilize that to allow for an honest-to-God virtual trading card game and to buy and sell this stuff on the Steam Marketplace and trade them as well, if they really let people go nuts with it, that
trading
could actually be enough. Yes, that could be enough. Just that by itself could be enough for people to just say, fuck it, yes, we can use another card game because no other card game allows us to do that. But will they go all the way with it? I don't know, because obviously they're going to want to make as much money as possible off it because card games make a shit load of money. We don't really know any details on it other than the fact that Sean was talking about like building barracks and creeps and there's 3 maps.
You have different lanes, and you have to control the lanes with your card plays. From what I understand, it's pretty much a MOBA in card form. So who knows?
Yeah, and then I guess the last negative to this is everyone kind of vomited a little bit in their mouth. Not just because it was a card game, but because it's still not Half-Life 3, and it's still not like even like a.
We're announcing like a new game.
Yeah, there was like a list somebody had online of like the best to the worst possible scenarios that could have happened, and it was like best scenario Half-Life 3, then there was like a reasonable update to Team Fortress 2, and then it just kept going, and at the very bottom it was card game, and there it was, the fucking very last thing on the list was another card game based on Dota this time. So yeah, so that's my thing on it is if they allow you to go bonkers on the Steam Marketplace with trading and honest to God being able to trade cards finally, and maybe even buying and selling single cards like they could if they wanted to, then you've got my attention. Not just because the gameplay is great or whatever, but because you're doing something that nobody else is doing flat out in the space in terms of trading. Otherwise, I don't know how I can get excited about this. How do you guys feel about this?
I think it's oversaturation of card games at this point. Like, people are going to go into their camps and that's the show, but they're going to get the Dota diehards. I mean, you got all the Warcraft and other people in Hearthstone. You have a very strong community in Dota, so I figure, you know what? Valve's like, we'll just cash in on it too.
Yep. That's I mean, I don't know. I mean, do I want to see another card game? No, not really. But at the same time, if I am going to see one, I would prefer to see it from Valve because they have the marketplace. Like, the thing is this has potential to be bigger than Hearthstone. The amount of, because you can trade and possibly trade your cards, your digital cards with other people,
huge game changer,
and or have cards that are worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. This is going to be another CS:GO shuffle shit where there's going to be sites, gambling sites, and they know exactly what they're doing, and it's going to be a whole switch with how to get packs and cards. You'll have like probably sites that are doing like mystery packs and shit where people can spend money and there'll be a chance to win a $300 card for the low price of $1. I'm telling you right now, if this game comes out, I'm investing in one of these gambling websites. I'll keep it strictly 100% legit and legal, and I'll make a fortune.
You'll literally just say self-sponsored. I own this company, and you're
gonna come on the podcast and be like, hey guys, look, I just found this website the other day. It's a fucking awesome website. You can win cards. For Artifact. Let's see what happens when I press the spin button, and then you win a $30,000 card.
As crazy as it sounds, it's what's gonna happen, and Valve knows.
I know
this.
it is. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They know what's going on. The only thing that makes me nervous is that it's Valve, and they have a tendency to not give a fuck about their games. They'll release a nice game, a good game, and then that's it.
They're good optimizers like Blizzard.
Can you imagine Valve wanting to take the time to balance a card game?
No.
Valve is a company. Valve is a company, and as a culture, they are very different than most other studios. Like, when you work at Valve, you literally pretty much just work on whatever the fuck you want to work on. The reason why Half-Life 3 hasn't happened is because they didn't really care to make it. Like, no one there had any buy-in. Left 4 Dead 2 was pretty much people wanted to make that kind of game with AI. They wanted to mess around with AI. Well, Valve, whenever they decide they want to do something, they'll eventually do something. So I'm sure someone there's like, I kind of want to make a card game. Why don't I make it around Dota? And that's probably how Artifact started. They got a bunch of people to be like, yeah, let's make a fucking card game. And they're very chill about that stuff.
They want to make a card game because they see how much money that the card games are making. And I don't think it has anything to do with them. You know what, boys? We've gone in the office today. Can't really think of anything else to do. But you know what sounds cool? I think a card game's, yeah, sure, man. Go ahead and just start producing that. Somebody upstairs is saying, look at the amount of fucking money that Hearthstone is making. It's ridiculous. And there ain't no other card game on the market that is reasonably close to Hearthstone. Not even remotely close. I know Magic the Gathering got a nice following, but I can't really think of any other online card game that is crushing it. And the fact that it's Valve of all things, and they have that market, that is their secret sauce, is that open market, being able to create this whole gambling thing and people making money off it, not just the people that are going to go and do Valve's dirty work for them, because that's what people are
there.
People are going to be using the market to make money. There's always going to be some 14-year-old kid out there that thinks he's smarter than everybody else, that doesn't want to go to school in the afternoon. He's going to tell his buddies, why are you going to fucking grade 9 class? I'm at home making $60 an hour doing this, trading these cards on the Steam thing, and I'm going to become rich. You know, there's plenty of them. They're going to do all the heavy lifting for Valve. They just need to open up the floodgates and let it go and just make cards. That's it.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to make shit tons of money. And it's going to be Hearthstone players. They're a bunch of casuals that just like playing the game. These type of players, these Dota things, it's a way of life. Like these guys are going to become obsessed.
Oh,
like
they're hardcore.
There's no like casual in this. It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. And when this shit comes out, people are going to be attached, and they know it. They're paying fucking Sean a shit ton of money to stand up on stage, getting hyped about a card game, and they know that once this shit comes out, I'm already looking at tweets. You got like Frodan and all these other guys.
Oh yeah,
they're all over this.
They're all talking about it.
All
and
talking
I guarantee
about it. Oh yeah.
They're gonna release a little thing, get a little beta out there, and they're gonna have the big guys, all the big guys playing it, and it's inevitable. It's inevitable as long as they get the market thing down.
This game will be bigger than Dota. The card game will be bigger than Dota.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, it will be.
100%. It won't be as big as Hearthstone.
Oh
but
no, yeah, nothing's gonna match Hearthstone.
But it's going to be huge if they do it right. If the game has to be like fairly good, and that's it. I don't even think the game needs to be great. As long as they have this open market, that's the show. Like that's the show.
Do you think that it's going to be as hardcore as Dota 2 is in terms of keeping that theme of it's almost like Dota 2 is the expensive peanut butter brand on the shelf that's identical to the other brand, but they've got a fancier label and they're charging you $5 extra for that jar of peanut butter just to maintain the status. Do you think that they're going to do that
Dota
with
players
the card
are like
game?
fucking vegans, man. They're like vegans. That's what they
vegan
are.
CrossFitters.
The way vegan CrossFitters.
Vegan CrossFitters.
Holy crap! What would that even be?
They would never be able to stop talking about one of those two topics. They just go in a circle the whole time. It would just be
like League went for the mass market by, I'm not going to say dumbed down, but they did simplify mechanics across the game to make it more watchable. Dota stayed true to what the original Warcraft 3 MOBA Dota was, and they said this is what we are, and they stuck with it. Hearthstone was possibly one of the, and I don't like Hearthstone. It's one of the most dumbed down card games ever released for like a collectible card game.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like, and I'm a kind of excited for Artifact, even though I feel the market is oversaturated, because I feel like if they said we are complicated as fuck and they stick with it, because the collectible card games like Magic and all of them, there's a lot of stuff going on in them, and that's what makes them interesting, because what you can do all the strategy crafting and stuff. So if Valve comes out with Artifact and they're like, you know what, we're coming out with like a fully featured, fully fledged card game, none of this dumbed down Hearthstone shit, I feel like they might do pretty damn well. Aside from like all the money they're gonna make, I feel like they might actually come out with a relatively competent card game.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm hoping for.
I think it could go either way and be successful. I think if they made a casual game, I think they're gonna have more commercial success.
Yeah.
Which actually might help out Dota as well if they want to grow Dota as a brand outside of the actual game. So if you get a bunch of casuals playing Artifact, they're maybe going to get attached to some of these characters and things, and maybe they'll go play Dota 2. But at the same time, I kind of agree where if they want to appease the elitists, then they make a really complicated game that is for the vegan CrossFitters that think they're smarter than everybody and got everything figured out. They could go that route and still be successful and convert some people. But I think at the end of the day, it's all going on the marketplace. I think the marketplace is the play. If they don't have the open marketplace, the game's done.
It's dead.
It's done. It's done in the water. Ain't nobody interested.
Yeah.
That's it. They want to have streamers just opening up packs and fucking selling shit and doing fucking Artifact giveaways, like $1,000 card. They need to get some really rare shit. They need to actually have an infrastructure.
They need the Black Lotus.
They literally need the Black Lotus. They have to make it like they need to like first edition shit. They need to go crazy with it.
They need to Magic the Gathering that shit. Pretty much.
They literally do, but in digital form. And it's already been proven that it works. Look at CS:GO. Like literally CS:GO are like having cards, except they're guns.
But instead of cosmetic bullshit, it actually matters in the game, which makes it even more worthwhile.
Straight up. I'm calling up Phantom Lord, and I'm getting something set up.
And I think the last thing though, before wrapping this up is, I think it also works as a great expansion to the international. We're going to get like the card game running alongside of Dota at the International, and it's going to make the event even bigger than it already is. And you know how much money they're making for this Dota International tournament. Can you imagine how much money the prize pool could be technically for a card game if they monetize the pool in a similar way as they do with Dota? I mean, holy shit, there are going to be 17-year-old kids retiring themselves and the next 3 or 4 people in their fucking like family tree off of one card game.
No, because they all go out there and they get hookers and blow and they get really expensive cars and they have a fucking condo down in Los Angeles and they're broke within a year. And then
they pull a John Jones.
Except they don't have a glorious comeback. They just
they don't have no
forever.
glorious comeback. Yeah, they're gone. They're gone forever. They disappear into the mists of Northern California.
I am not looking forward to the game. Like, I don't care about card games, but I am definitely looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Like what happens.
Just to see what happens.
Yeah.
I just want to see mechanically and economically what happens with it.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be a nut house if they open up the market full bore and not restricted. If they just go full bore with it, it's going to be an absolute. It'll be piranhas in the water everywhere. It's going to be absolutely nuts. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we've come up to the end of that first segment. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. Thankfully, there's not like super long-winded stuff to talk about in segment 2, so we'll be able to hop in on that stuff. But we're going to take a quick bake. I'm going to go get lit real quick, and then we'll continue the podcast.
Gotta continue that vegan CrossFit style, man.
Yeah, I gotta go get some deadlifts in real quick and throw my back out. I'll be right back in 5 minutes, guys. Sit tight, and Technical Alpha will continue. Hey guys, if you're enjoying Technical Alpha and are interested in supporting us, do I have a solution for you? We've set up this Patreon page to help us help you, help us and you. We've got a list of options that would make a used car salesman cry that provide you with a range of goodies for your support. Head on over to patreon.com/technicalalpha to see what's up for grabs. Like fancy badges and stuff? Subscribe to us on Twitch to get access to, well, badges and stuff. Not big on subscriptions. We have a button below that allows you to directly throw money at our faces. Careful you don't take those eyes out though. We are so very fond of our eyes. Honestly though, while we like to joke about the sellout, just being a regular listener is a huge help, and we're incredibly thankful for all of your support. Technical Alpha will continue soon, so sit tight. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to move on to segment 2 of Side A of this week's podcast, where we discuss movies and stuff, is how I'm going to put this in. It's an expanded thing. Movies and stuff. Mr. Black, has anything happened in the world of retro gaming in the last 2 weeks since you were watching sweaty men fondle each other last Friday?
Yeah, no, nothing. No news, no major things, anything like that. I watch a lot of retro YouTube channels, and nothing has come up. It's been drier than a nun's. You know what?
The only retro thing I know coming up is that the pre-orders for the SNES Mini are coming up in like the next week or two, maybe 3 weeks. That's about it. That's all I know. That's it.
And people have hopes and dreams of actually getting their hands on one.
Yeah, that's about it.
For a very short period of time. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how well they supply this time around, for sure. First thing that I have on my list of things here, and of course, Mr. Black might have more movie/TV stuff if it's not listed here. First thing I have listed here is that they are doing a Hellboy reboot.
Yes.
I will say something that will not shock anyone. I have not seen the original Hellboy, but I've heard lots of good things about it. If I'm going to be honest with you, I know they're good, they're pretty good movies, or even some people's opinion, great movies. I could not get around the character itself. I couldn't, even though I didn't watch the movies or even try, just the trailers and the stuff I've seen of it, I couldn't get interested based on the character Hellboy itself. So I haven't seen it, but you guys may have, and you can talk a bit about the reboot if you know anything.
So Hellboy was kind of always, even in the comic realm, he was kind of a cult character, like a cult classic character. He was always kind of in the B list. He wasn't like ultra super popular or anything. I was actually a little surprised when they originally did the movies, but the movies turned out well.
Was it a Del Toro thing?
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro. He did well with it.
Okay.
They weren't great movies, but they weren't bad movies either. They were just solid showings. They were good popcorn flicks. They knew what they were. They kind of played fun on themselves, and they were pretty true to the source material. I take it you watched both of them, Jeff, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the thing with this is people were expecting that they were going to come back, and the reason why this one's it's interesting is because people were expecting them to come back for the third part of Hellboy, not a reboot, because people in general liked the casts of the first two movies. They liked Ron Perlman as Hellboy. They liked the direction that Del Toro was taking with the films. So I was actually surprised when this got announced too, because they're literally taking it in a completely different direction. New actors, they got a Game of Thrones director in on it. They're taking it more on like a horror slant. A horror slant. They got like Mia Jovovich as one of the leads in this movie. So I was kind of surprised that they're going for like a much darker tone with Hellboy. They cast David Harbour as Hellboy this time around. He's the guy from Stranger Things.
I like that.
It's a good cast.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. So
I have to, while you talk about that, I'm going to look. What was his name? I've watched Stranger Things, but I wouldn't be able to put that face immediately.
David Harbour with a O-U-R at the end.
And what's her face? Mia
Jovovich.
Jovovich?
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's
finally not doing Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So David Harbour was the sheriff, basically.
Yeah,
sheriff.
He's gonna be Hellboy.
That's dope. He was good. I liked him. So he looks like he's probably going to be a good.
Oh, he's an amazing actor. I think he's going to not be a movie star, but he's going to get a lot more roles like this. He's going to be like the
cult horror type stuff.
Yeah, oh man, I'm trying to
not
think,
like straight horror.
I'm trying to think what kind of work he would be doing. I'm trying to like.
He's not going to be A, but he's not going to be B. Is he like some weird B+ actor?
Yeah, I think he has a chance. I think he has a chance to be almost at, if he continues to go the way he's going, I think he could be at like a Michael Keaton type level of actor.
Oh, okay.
In terms of like ability and the roles that he gets. He's not at that level yet, but I think in like 5-7 years after he's been through, like he does some Hollywood movies, does some some lower budget films.
I feel like he's going to be always straddling that line between high-end TV and low-end Hollywood.
That's fair. I think that's fair. I think he's
Which really that line
feel like
is.
I feel like he's gonna be. He's like one good movie away. I think that Hellboy could be like his.
He needs a good movie.
Yeah, I think if he does really a good job here, this could be a big break for him. Like a really big break.
Does he need one maybe where he's not costumed up so hard that nobody would know it's him unless they can put the face to the name?
I don't know.
Kind of thing?
Like if you looked at Hellboy, you look at Hellboy, you immediately knew it was Ron Perlman.
Well, he's got such a weird shaped face.
Well, Ron Perlman's head is the size of my refrigerator to begin with, so it wasn't really like a lot of makeup.
It's like a frog,
huge.
that bullfrog.
So I don't know. It all depends on how far they go with the effects. Because like if they overly CG him or go nuts with it, yeah, it might not be the movie to make him. But at the same time, if he delivers a good performance, it might launch a Hellboy franchise again.
So I don't know if you guys mentioned this, but who is the director going to be for this? This one?
Neil Marshall.
He does Game of Thrones
but
stuff.
He's only done 2 Game of Thrones episodes. So he's not like a.
I don't know about these 2 movies that are listed. I'm seeing listed Doomsday and The Descent.
Oh, The Descent. Okay. Yeah, The Descent's not bad.
Yeah. So, I'm cautiously optimistic because the first 2 Hellboy movies, they were interesting. So I'll definitely go watch it. They actually do have the character creator, like the guy who created Hellboy, Mike Mignola, is involved in the movie. So I'm hoping part of the reason Hellboy was good in the first place was because it stayed true to the source material, and they didn't do anything crazy weird like they tend to do with the hero movies. So it could be interesting.
Yeah, we'll
Question: this is going to make me, show how little I know about any of this shit. Is Hellboy part of which universe, or is it a standalone thing that it's outside of either universe? Like, is it its own thing entirely, or is it a DC/Marvel thing, or like what is Hellboy? Oh, it's a Dark Horse thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it is kind of its own beast then.
It's a little bit indie. Right, yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, that's kind of cool that it's happening then amongst all of the, amidst the flurry Marvel,
of
DC psychoticness.
Marvel DC stuff. Yeah, kind of cool that there's still, somebody's willing to even put money into that. I would be terrified trying to pitch that to an executive somewhere and be like, hey, I know there's all this shit going on, but let me tell you something about this Hellboy reboot 10 years in the making.
I don't think it's that bad of an idea. I think it's probably. I think it's a fairly easy sell. I mean,
Hellboy did well.
It's not like they were bad movies. They made a lot of money. They did really well. The character is loved
Fans
by
have
many.
been saying, "Where's Hellboy? We want more Hellboy."
And we're in a time where Hellboy was almost too early for its time. It came
when
out.
Was the first Spider-Man out? Because Hellboy was right
Hellboy
around that time frame. It was 2004 or something was the first one.
Yeah,
it was early 2000.
And now they can do so much more with it. I mean,
they can actually do hero movies like crazy.
Yeah, they can. It's that time. So I'm not even mad about it.
Yeah, I wasn't upset. I was surprised that they weren't continuing the original franchise because the original franchise was well received and they could have easily continued. Because again, they had enough makeup and stuff that Ron Perlman's aging doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, if they do want to make this a long series,
they need to start over.
They can't have Ron Perlman.
Oh yeah.
Doing that shit. Fair. The guy looks like he's 60 years old or 70 years old, I should say. He's
up there.
Old as shit.
Yeah.
Just don't let him fall asleep on top of you because he'll crush you with that head. Annabelle Creation. I think Jeff, you just went to this yesterday?
Last night, yep.
Yeah. Was that the release night for it then? The Thursday or
Yep.
Oh, okay. What did you I think I saw a tweet in passing, but what were your thoughts on this? Because this was from the same people that did
is this a James Wan thing or something else?
Well, it's in James Wan's
Umbrella.
It's in his studio. So, he's like a producer. And what I like about, well, for one, James Wan is a legend. So I got anything that the guy, whether he's directing it, he's behind the scenes, whatever. The thing that I love about him in his studio is everything that comes out of the studio feels like a James Wan movie. There's this continuity throughout all of his films that, yeah, each director has their own thing, but it still has the feel that you know what I'm saying. It just feels like a James Wan movie. So I just run out to the theater and I go and watch a James Wan production. And I have to say, it was the scariest movie I've seen in theater since the original Conjuring. It was absolutely terrifying. It did a lot of generic horror film stuff, but it did it in a fresh way. And then there was a lot of new stuff in there too. All the child actors were amazing. The direction was really good. They added a little bit to the mythology of the whole Conjuring because it is part of the Conjuring. Because in the Conjuring, the doll Annabelle or Annabella or whatever you want to call it, is in that thing. So there are two different spin-offs that they have. There's one about the nun, and then there's one about the doll. They do open up the door in this movie with the nun.
So this one's about the doll?
This one's about the doll. So
Okay.
It's about how the doll was created. So it's a prequel. So it's how the doll became what it is. So it was just amazing. It was an amazing experience. And I'm not saying that as a James Wan fanboy. I'm saying that as a horror fanboy, that if you're into horror movies, this is not going to let you down. I mean, if you're going to go on Rotten Tomatoes right now, it's I wouldn't be surprised to see it still at around 70%.
Are we above 80?
Or so. No,
oh, okay.
no.
I was going to
It's
say
at
69. It's a horror movie.
Yeah. It's at 69% on Rotten Tomatoes for the critics, and it's 80%
That's
for
high. That's
audience
high
score.
praise for a horror movie.
Oh, that's really high praise for a horror movie.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of the bad in there is it's a scary movie. So there's, jump scares and things like that. And critics have a stick up their ass. They never I shouldn't say they never, but it's very rare for them to praise a horror movie.
Horror movies don't do well usually with them.
With critics, they just don't. Like certain critics,
I think it's just cool to hate on them because of the style of film that horror is, and so it's just kind of fun to just shit on it, and everybody else does it too. So nobody tries to not shit on it. I guess it's just kind of like the norm.
Well, here's the thing. The thing is with this Annabelle Creation, a lot of people were expecting that this was going to be bad, and it ended up being a really good movie. So the critics and the bad ones, they're really stretching. They're really, really stretching, and there are valid points to what they're saying, but they're reviewing it in a critic standpoint, as in beginning, middle, and end, character progression, they're doing their critic bullshit, right?
They apply the classic mentality on how to evaluate a movie.
Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't mean, and it's still got a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes,
yeah.
so that alone tells you
69% on a Rotten Tomato horror movie. It means it's actually like a
95,
like 80 or 90 for a regular movie.
It's really good. It's a perfect date movie. Kayla had her eyes covered for the last 30 minutes. It's really refreshing. It felt like I was in a haunted house, and I was going through the different rooms and secret areas and things. It was just very, very creepy. It was just so well done.
You said that or mentioned that they did some new things. That was going to be my question, is that, Gabs and I have watched a boatload of horror movies in the last while because it became a thing to watch them just kind of. Again, most horror movies, even when they're good, aren't amazing, so it's kind of fun to just be like, ha ha ha, this is
this movie isn't amazing. It's not it's not like a life-changing experience, but it does very well.
But it does it well, right? No, but my question is, when you said that they do new things, so that's always my problem, is that a lot of horror movies end up feeling identical because they all do the exact same shit. So when you say new things, did it actually feel like you were watching a 2017 horror movie and not the same horror movie we've been watching since 2007?
Yes and no. It felt. Okay. I mean, it still has those generic scares, but the way they do the scares is unique. And there were some really, really great set pieces and very cool thing. And I don't want to spoil anything, but just the way they did it, it was just so good. And the generic stuff, it was generic, but it was different. Even the timing of the scares, everything was just done differently. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I almost want to go see it a second time. And it's a movie that you want to experience in the movie theater, on a big screen, in the dark, and with an audience. And even though an audience can be annoying at times, because especially in a movie that's like 14 plus, you get a lot of those like 16, 17-year-olds that just won't shut up. But it's funny listening to people scream and listening to the things that you're going through in your mind, but you're too mature to say it out loud. So it's kind of cool to like live, if I was 10 years younger, I would be acting a certain way in the movie theater. It's fun to go through that with everybody in a group.
So was this more of like a psychological horror, or like a jump scare horror, or like a combination? Like I'm talking like Silent Hill versus like Saw.
No, it's not a psychological thing. It's an atmospheric thriller. There's so many different rooms in the house. In each room, there's something fucked. But it's there's something fucked. The whole house is fucked. And what I like there was one part, without spoiling, of course, there was one part that in the movie that took me out that I didn't like that much, and it was more of the stupidity of a character where something happens and they're like, oh yeah, well, in my mind I'd be like, we're getting the fuck out of here yesterday, and there is no way there isn't even an inkling of a chance that I'm going back into this house. And of course, they stay, and they stay another night, and and insanity ensues. So that was the only part of the movie that I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, get the fuck out. How do you not leave? But of course, but it's a movie, right? And it's a horror movie, but it isn't like that all the time. It's just that one moment that took me out a little bit, and I was like, they shouldn't have done that. But everything else, when shit gets real, it's very fucking creepy, dude. It's very creepy.
You know what I'm waiting for is what the next wave of horror movie is going to look like, because we're still kind of in this weird hybrid thing where we picked up on the Japanese style of horror, I don't know, a little over 10 years ago now or more. I mean, well, I should say way more than that. I feel like I'm still living in apparently 2001. When was The Ring when did The Ring show up on the was that late 90s, man. Early 2000s?
I feel like it's probably been like 15 years.
Yeah, so when The Ring came in and it introduced more of the not just the Japanese look to the girl itself, but the little girl horror thing, and then a lot of
that's not in this movie at all,
along with it.
That's not in this.
But it ended up birthing instead of just gore all the time, or whatever, the Western style of horror that kind of existed previously. So I'm waiting for what's the next wave of horror film? Who's going to invent that shit? Because now Japan and the Western world is already clusterfucked and made, they're making the same movies now. So who's going to be the next crazy bastard that comes up with
I just think it's going to be remakes. It's going to be, they're bringing back It. That actually looks really creepy too.
That looks pretty crazy, yeah.
It looks good. I think they're just going to start bringing back some old movies and putting a twist on it. It was like Evil Dead, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. The remake I thought was incredible. They've been doing horror remakes really well. I don't know why. I don't know how. And I'm not talking like Freddy Krueger or something like that. Like those are like whatever.
You can do a horror movie nowadays, because the CG in a horror movie doesn't need to be like crazy.
Yeah, because it's dark too, right? Yeah, so they can hide those imperfections.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like, they can do a lot more realistic horror CG than back in the day. It makes it more believable, but it's not all that expensive to do. No. So, they don't have to go overboard with it, but it's got a good balance for how they can fit it into the movie.
Yeah, so you almost can't fuck up a horror movie in terms of budget. You can get as elaborate as you want, you can get as cheap as you want, and as long as you have a good trailer and it's out around Halloween, people are gonna go because people love to be scared. Something. And it is what it is. So, Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be like an anytime soon. I think we've seen what we're going to get with horror for many years to come. And you know, we've had the whole zombie phase, we've had the whole demons and ghosts and shit like that.
We did a found footage phase and that kind of stuff.
Oh god, that found footage.
I'm happy that's
dying of fire.
But yeah, well, I love it. I have to say, go out and see it, guys. If you're listening and you're into horror, this is a good one. And if you haven't seen the other ones, you don't actually need to watch any of the movies because this is the prequel. So this is like before anything. So if you go in blind, you've never watched The Conjuring, you've never watched any of the other Annabelle or anything like that, you're totally fine. The characters are new, everything is new. There are never mind. I'm not gonna say. I don't want to.
Yeah, don't do it.
There are ways that they intertwine it, but it's done in a way that it'll only intrigue you to go watch the other movies.
Yeah, and the other movies are actually. I've seen the Conjuring movies. They're actually pretty good. Yeah, they're actually pretty good. Speaking of sequels and everything else and remakes and whatnot, we've got the last 3 topics on here are all of those things. Avengers 4 is in production, even though 3 isn't out yet. I don't think that's particularly shocking. It's just crazy to me how fast they're cranking this stuff out. They are just plowing through that shit.
What is the reasoning? The Infinity War, and they're like already doing the next one.
Yeah. So what exactly is the reasoning for doing this so quick? I mean, it must just be that they're.
No, I know the reasoning. It's simple.
Okay. Give it to me.
The Russo brothers, who are the ones that are directing the Avengers movies, they just signed a big production deal with Fox and their studio. So this is it. They have a certain amount of time, a window in which they can make movies. They have to finish the 3rd and 4th movies before they head over. And so they're doing them back to back. And so they just finished, or they are finishing up the Avengers movie now.
Avengers 3 is already done. Like, it's wrapped on production. There you go. Now they're doing editing.
Now they're starting. Yeah, now they're going to be starting 4. So it's just because the Russo brothers only have so much time with the studio, and then they have to go. So they're doing it right now, and we're going to be getting Avengers back to back each for a year. So it'll be, I think it was 2018 and then 19.
So Avengers 3, they already said the cut that they currently have of Avengers 3 is coming in at almost over 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually crossed the 150-minute mark, which is pretty crazy.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's it. That's
well. There you go.
Answer.
There you go. Blade Runner 2049 is R-rated. Can we all agree that that's a thank God? I feel like if you're gonna redo Blade Runner, you might as well go all the way with it. So. And just already based on what we know of Blade Runner, the people that are in it, how it's been looking so far, everything about it looks awesome. And to see that they're not going to hamstring themselves and try and cram this into a bigger market with lowering the rating, I'm totally cool with that. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. No,
I've been pumped with everything I've seen for that movie so far. I feel like they're doing it exactly right. I'm hoping I'm not hyping myself out for it. But everything I've seen for it, even like the promo shots they've been doing for it, everything just like looks like it's hitting the right notes. Again, I'm a big fan of being true to the source material when you have good source material. So
absolutely.
I'm like,
the cast is great.
Yeah,
there's like nobody in there I don't like. So.
Do we know who's doing the music for Blade Runner?
Let me look that up if we know. Blade Runner 2049 music.
I hope it's not Daft Punk. So
That
was my first thought. That was my first thought.
Because I don't want people to feel like it's Tron because it does have that.
It would immediately feel like Tron if you had Daft Punk do the music for sure.
But yeah, I'm not sure. Cast is good. I'm happy it's rated R.
Icelandic composer Johan Johansson.
I don't know.
I shit you not on that name.
That is the most Icelandic name you could possibly fucking have. That's amazing, though.
He said he is taking He's taking inspiration from the previous work, from the previous composer. They also he's getting help from Hans Zimmer and Ben Wallfish.
Anytime Hans Zimmer's there, that's always a good time. Get him in there.
Solid work. So,
yep.
Sounds like the music in this will be pretty bang on.
Yeah, I think I might actually watch Blade Runner tonight. I think that'll be the movie I'll watch.
Yeah, I need a refresh on it. I honestly haven't seen it since I was forever ago.
Have you guys watched Lord of War yet?
I watched it last night. Let's go. I did it. I fucking finally did it.
Did.
I watched it last night. It fucking happened. I was tired last night of streaming.
You got Gabs to watch a Nicolas Cage movie?
No, I didn't. I saved her the suffering. And if there was one movie that has Nicolas Cage all over it, it's Lord of War. It's like 85% Nicolas Cage. So she would have absolutely wanted to hang herself midway through this movie. It was good. Yeah, probably. It was
a very
good
not
for
Nicolas
sure.
Cage movie.
It was totally not a Nicolas Cage movie. Yeah, no, I just thought it was a good movie. I don't think it was the best movie I've seen in a long time or anything.
It wasn't like something incredible, but it was a good movie.
But it was good, and I think it accomplished what they were probably trying to accomplish when they originally made that movie, which was to bring to light to as many people as possible the realities of arms dealers, and not just independent arms dealers, but countries acting as arms dealers around the world, and most of which are the ones that we are occupying currently. So they
blame Canada.
They definitely had an agenda with that movie, 110%. It was so much an agenda that it almost felt like a documentary narrated by and starring Nicolas Cage. But it was, despite that, it was good, and it showed. I'm not going to say it showed Nicolas Cage in a different light, because he definitely utilized a very similar acting style that he would have used in Gone in 60 Seconds. But it was certainly better to me watching that than watching some of his more recent endeavors, and it made me want to see other more serious Nicolas Cage movies, because given the opportunity, he is capable of doing some pretty decent acting. He just obviously does not fucking care what script is put in front of him. If he's getting paid, he's gonna do that damn movie one way or another. So yeah, it was.
Yo, can we talk about Josh Brolin for a second? Because the guy is a fucking machine. Like, the guy looks like, dude. Okay, so
did you see the press pictures of him?
Yo, look at this.
Because he's playing what's his face?
He's Cable.
Look at that. Yeah, he's
Cable.
playing Cable. Look,
I saw a
at this
picture of him with the kid.
Oh my god, he is fucking yoked. He is on so much juice right now. He's juiced to the gills. I can see the steroids coming right off. Right off.
Oh, he's sweating it. He's sweating horse tranquilizer right now. It's just pouring out of him every orifice. I saw this picture of him with a kid that was dressed up as Deadpool, and he's down on one knee. Yeah, so he's down on one knee, and just I'm looking at his bicep, going, that is the most roid bicep I have seen.
I'm kind of
in
scared
years.
that he's like going to go into like a roid rage and rip that kid in half by accident.
Dude,
forget where he is.
Brolin is killing it right now. He's in 2 massive movies.
Yeah.
What's the other one he's doing right now?
Oh, he's playing
he's
fucking
Thanos, man.
Yeah, he's fucking the main guy in the Avengers movie, man.
Oh,
the main villain.
He's the main villain of all of it. Like, he is the guy. Thanos, just the big fucking purple.
Oh, I know who he is. Well, that's no. He's jacked out of his mind for sure.
Oh, he's
no
yoked.
2 ways around that.
He's absolutely yoked. So anyway, I saw that shit and I'm like, God damn, dude. And he looks amazing. Like, I can't wait for Deadpool 2, man. I just can't fucking wait.
You know how
look at this photo I'm putting in a Twitch. My
knee-jerk reaction.
I literally
to
just linked that a couple minutes ago.
You know what my knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
My knee-jerk reaction to this picture was, though, when I saw him, I immediately got angry because he looked, first glance, peripheral vision. He looks exactly like that stupid asshole from Avatar that didn't fucking die. No matter how much they put him into the ground, that stupid asshole that almost ruined the movie for me because of how much he kept coming back from the fucking grave.
I actually think he looks like an old. He looks like an older John Cena, man. He looks like John Cena. In
he's got that big ass chin and everything, right? So he does kind of have that Cena look for sure. I mean, Cena's wrists are the size of my thighs, so it's just that dude is fucking terrifying. But
anyway, yeah, somebody mentioned in chat, and I was like, damn, man, this crazy dude. He's so fucking yoked. Oh, also, did you see The Rock's tattoo? You didn't see? You guys didn't hear about this? Okay, so The Rock tattoo. The Rock covered his bull tattoo. It's gone.
No, what?
And I, you know what? I'm not a big fan of his new tattoo.
What is it?
What the fuck did he do?
Post
it in Twitch because I can't post it in Twitch because I can't use Skype's chat because you guys are up on camera.
All right, let me see. I'm gonna find a picture of it here.
Why would he cover up the friggin'?
Well, it turned into almost like a bigger bull, but it looks interesting. That's right. I just posted a little TMZ thing.
All right. Okay.
But he's getting a lot of backlash for it. I mean, it's his body. Like, fuck. I mean, he's a Rock. But like
I
to
like
go
the old
from
one. Like he went with like the newer recent style of like making it look like it's part of your arm type of thing.
Yeah, and he did post up on Instagram like kind of what it symbolizes and all this other stuff, but it's weird. I'm like,
I wouldn't get rid of my
just
old
because
part of it.
And like so much, like even all of his products, like his Under Armour products, everything is the bull. I mean, that's like the bull, not that type of bull, but like the actual bull it's like symbolizes the Rock. It's the thing you see in every one of his movies. I just almost feel bad for him because now when he does a movie, he's gonna have to get that thing covered up too. If he's doing a role that he's not supposed to have tattoos, like when he did Hercules, he had to sit in a chair for like 7 hours every day, and do that. And now, can you imagine? Now you got to do both sides. Before, like the bull, you'd be able to cover it up with just like a T-shirt or whatever, or just a little bit of makeup. Like
I
now
can kind of. Like, is this a whole play on the fact that he's aging now, and the bull representing kind of the whole kick that he had when he was earlier coming up and everything, and now he's transitioning, and that's what this is about?
When you get time, you can go on his Instagram, and he posted a picture, and he goes through like what it symbolizes, and it makes sense. But it's just like, at the same time, it's like, damn, man. You know,
like
damn.
I get where you guys are coming from. I obviously like, you know, the old bull tattoo is classic Rock. I think the old bull tattoo looked like something you could get done,
of course,
at
but
like a baby's first tattoo. But it's fine
for sure.
The updated one is fucking dope looking as shit. I don't think you can say it's necessarily a bad looking tattoo.
It's not a bad tattoo by any means. That looks amazing.
Oh, he's got it done by one of the best tattoo artists on the planet. So, you know, in terms of design, it's great.
I'd have to read his reasoning.
Yeah,
of course. Oh, absolutely.
Right?
And it's a big tattoo too, right? I mean, this is changing his look dramatically. The old bull tattoo was spanning his like 68-inch bicep to tricep. Now it's his whole fucking elbow up to his shoulder. So now, you know, it's a lot more noticeable to say the least. But he's gonna look, dude. He's gonna have like some GQ pictures of him in the gym doing fucking cable flies, jacked as fuck, after eating 73 pancakes, and he's gonna look fucking dope, and everybody's gonna get over it. But I agree though. It is unfortunate to have to see the old bull go for sure. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not a person with a tattoo. So I don't know, you know, I can't associate the feeling of wanting to cover one up and transitioning out of one, but it's usually, from what I've seen, it's usually going to be something pretty significant or a shit tattoo. Those are the two options you have. The tattoo is either really fucking bad and you got it because you were lit as fuck one night and you don't remember it, and all of a sudden you've got the worst tattoo of like Gumby with his dick out on your friggin' arm, and now you got to cover it up, or it's something that you want to change. So yeah, I definitely want to read what the option was.
I just wonder if he's gonna keep the damn the logo. Like, is he still gonna run with the bull? Like, is
because I think
he's gonna keep that for branding.
Oh yeah, because it's still a bull. It's just a different looking bull. It's not like they took that like shit-tastic old tattoo and just put it on Under Armour gear. It's just the symbol of the bull. Was it the Burma or the Burma bull, the Brahma bull, the Brahma bull, Burma. It's a totally different thing entirely.
But yeah, anyway, I just keep this going.
Yeah.
So let's just move on, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's The Rock's tattoo, and I mean, he's
Rock
The
is a
Rock.
god.
He's the fucking man.
He's a
he's
fucking
literally
god.
future president. So it's all good.
Absolutely. Dude, yeah, don't get me started on that. Part of me wants to see it, but just like with our current situation, I know it's probably a bad idea. But at this point, like I've said before, anything, shovel anyone in there, just fucking whatever. Anarchy could be better. Arnold, by the way, speaking of the governors, the governator himself,
This
is
franchise
apparently
needs to die.
he is coming back for Terminator 6 Geriatric Edition. Let's
This
go.
franchise needs to die.
He just needs to not be part of it anymore, man. He just
Well,
They
needs
need
be
to
done.
like start it over. They need to start it fresh and clean. They need to start it completely from the beginning, and they need to do it not campy as shit.
Oh, Josh Brolin's looking pretty yoked right now. Fuck, call him up and let him be the goddamn Terminator.
Holy shit. Terminator has not been good since Terminator 3.
No, it's been
No.
pretty bad.
Get
The
franchise
good
should have
news-
ended at Terminator 2.
The good news is James Cameron receives the rights back in like 2018, 2019.
Yeah, but James
So-
Cameron is
He doesn't
also
care
working
about
on
Terminator
Avatar
anymore.
for the next God knows how
He
long.
doesn't care about Terminator anymore. He's got his other things going. He's got his own stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, and he's been asked about it, and he said he has thought about it, and he said there is totally places to take the Terminator. It just has to be adjusted for current times, because the stuff that worked in the Terminator 30 years ago, all the high tech stuff, well, guess what? A lot of that's reality now. So it needs to be adjusted to for that reality. Otherwise, it's not really science fiction anymore. It's just reality. So whether or not he does anything with it, it's back in his hands. He's got something, I guess, in terms of Terminator 6. He's got some hand in it, I guess. And then Arnold, I mean, they're just going to use his likeness. They're not going to have fucking 65-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger, as jacked as he still is, go out there and do like a naked friggin' T-bow knee out in the middle of a field somewhere. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. They pulled him in for Genesis.
I think
True.
if Cameron's part of this again, obviously Cameron's not going to direct this movie, but
No.
he'll probably produce it. And I believe that if that's the case, if Cameron's actually part of the process, this will be a send-off. This will be Arnold's last thing. They'll reboot Terminator, and this will be the show. I mean, Arnold is like 70-something years old. There's no and people just don't want to see a CG'd Arnold on the screen. I don't care how
happen.
good. I don't care how
It
good
just
the
needs to
CG
die.
is.
It needs to be over.
I just don't want to see it anymore. Like, the character isn't even interesting anymore.
What's he gonna do? Come back and learn how to be human again because they found another version of him and reprogrammed him again to send him back to save John Connor again?
No, it's just it's
Oh.
ridiculous, dude. I'm
Franchise
gonna
needs
be
to
fucking
end.
50 years old taking my kids to go see Arnold, who's now 127, and he's still playing Terminator. Fuck.
You know what's
Send a
going to happen,
resistance
too.
fighter back to the past to try to kill Skynet, and then have a Terminator come in and try to kill him. Then let's go with that. Maybe flip the formula a bit.
I think Terminator just doesn't. I don't think Terminator even needs to be rebooted. I think it needs to die. I think it's done. It was the epitome of the 80s and the 90s. It was the big blockbuster. Give a weightlifter a role in a movie, and that was the show. And they made it work. And it was Arnold's best role for him, basically, because he only had to say 4 words. And if it came out robotic, it didn't fucking matter because he was a robot. And it was James Cameron, so you can't lose.
Give me the 4K Blu-ray based on the master footage of Terminator and
With
Terminator
original
2.
music, not that
And be
fucked
done with
up
it.
remastered music that doesn't even sound like the original track. It's not even the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. It's like some stupid, flamboyant crap that they came up
Give
with.
us,
Like, none
give
of
us that,
nonsense.
and I'm happy. Hell, just show it to me again in a movie theater. I'm fine. We're good.
You know what? I think I mentioned this the other in one of the last couple podcasts about the Mad Max Fury Road having a black and white version. I would love to see black and white original Terminator. I think that would be fucking dope.
Kind of weird.
I don't know.
I think it would be dope seeing that shit. in black
I don't
and
know.
white. Then again,
I think probably the best I could do for that would be if they went like the Sin City route and they made certain
everything but
colors
red.
pop. And so, you know, maybe, but I don't know.
Black
just
and
don't
white
fuck with
except
Terminator
for his
2.
eye. It's like
give
the
me
whole
the
movie.
rays.
The whole movie
That's
is
the
black
show.
and white, and then his
give me the
face gets
4K
ripped
Blu-ray
off,
and be done
it's
with it.
red eye, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Give me
and
the
that's
4K
the show.
Blu-ray and we're done. We're good.
Yeah, I'm just a fan of black and white with movies that are shot well. That's it. With good lighting.
You're
it
an
just,
old
it
man.
gives
I know
you
how colors
well.
fatigue
It gives
you.
it gives you an appreciation for how good the crew did with like lighting and the shots and stuff. It's a different experience for sure. But ladies and gentlemen, we have finally wrapped up side A. We're moving on to side
We're
B.
gonna have
boys.
a short side B, boys.
So we're gonna head out. For those of you listening on iTunes and YouTube, you can check out side B upon release if it isn't already out. Thank you so much for listening. For those on Twitch, you just have to wait a few more minutes. As always, thank you for your continued support on iTunes and every platform you're listening on, and anywhere you're dropping those reviews. We greatly appreciate it. And so until side B, peace. Hey guys, if you're enjoying Technical Alpha and are interested in supporting us, do I have a solution for you? We've set up this Patreon page to help us help you, help us and you. We've got a list of options that would make a used car salesman cry that provides you with a range of goodies for your support. Head on over to patreon.com/technicalalpha to see what's up for grabs. Like fancy badges and stuff? Subscribe to us on Twitch to get access to, well, badges and stuff. Not big on subscriptions. We have a button below that allows you to directly throw money at our faces. Careful you don't take those eyes out though. We are so very fond of our eyes. Honestly though, while we like to joke about the sellout, just being a regular listener is a huge help, and we're incredibly thankful for all of your support. Technical Alpha will continue soon, so sit tight.